Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's give Koyin a warm round of applause as she comes to the stage. Titi is going to be working with Koyin as well. Okay, lovely. So, it's all about our hair. Koyin, let me just leave the floor for you. What do we have today?
Okay, hello everybody. Thank you for attending our masterclass. I'm Koyinsola Vera-Cruz, and this is Titi. She's a healthy hair guru. And today, we'll be talking to you about your hair. We have our hair on top of our head. It sits right there. We wash it sometimes. We know it makes us look pretty or not. But what is it? You know, how does it work? How do we get it to behave? How do we get it to act the way we want it to act? And that's what Titi and I will be talking to you about today. We will try to break down the concept of a healthy hair journey to its simplest form and just guide you through the process of understanding your hair in the quickest time that we can. Just quickly, what we will be doing is talking about the structure of your hair and scalp. So just breaking down to you, what is your hair? What does it comprise of? We will be identifying hair types because, as we know, our hair grows in different curls and bends, and everybody's texture is different. So what is that about? We'll be talking to you about that. We'll be talking to you about how your hair actually grows, how it comes out from inside, from your scalp, and what makes it grow. We'll be talking to you about how it gets damaged, and I think that's where everybody would want to listen up. Other factors affecting your hair and keeping your hair healthy, so how to build a healthy hair regimen, to pick products for building your regimen. So quite quickly, I'll be running you through the chemistry of your hair. I won't make it too complicated or sciencey, but there are some things that if you understand, it would be much easier. Everything else will be a breeze. So you look at your hair follicle. Your follicles are tiny little pockets underneath your scalp out of which your hair grows. You have your sebaceous gland out of which your sebum comes out of and flows down your shaft. That's the natural oils on your scalp. Does anyone know how sebum interacts with African hair texture? The problem that sebum has with African hair texture, does anybody know?
There's a prize.
So do you know how sebum interacts with African hair in a way that's such a problem?
Yes, I do know that. I do know that when the sebum comes out of the scalp, because of the coily nature of the African hair, it doesn't get to travel around the bends as against the Asian or Caucasian where it comes straight out.
That is actually correct. Please give her a round of applause. Please come to Tresses stand for a prize. You will win a free consultation and treatment. That's your prize. Another round of applause.
Please. So basically you won, you won yourself a consultation and treatment at our salon for knowing the answer to that question. So well done. Okay, so quite quickly, you have the sebum there, and then you have the skin surface, and then your hair. And what is your hair? What is it composed of? It's mostly composed of proteins. So it has many layers, but we'll be focusing on 3 right now. It has the medulla, which is the innermost layer of your strand. We have it's made up of mostly space and protein. And then you have the cortex, which is the actual hair structure, the actual hair strand. That is where all the protein and disulfide bonding that's where it's happening. And then you have your cuticle, which is the protective layer of your strand. That's pretty much what it does. It protects your hair from insults, all the insults that we like to insult our hair. I hope you understand now about your follicle and your hair strand. So of course, like we were talking about before, your hair grows in different curls and bends. But what is that, and how does that affect your regimen? How does it affect how you take care of your hair? Titi will put you through that.
Thank you, Koyin. So I'm just going to go briefly on different hair types. I'm not sure if you're all familiar, but there is a general category of different hair types from number 1 through 4, 1A through 4C. And I will start with 4C because I am a 4C hair, as they say. And with my own hair, I don't have curl definition. So it's really, really tightly wound. And for me to get that definition, I have to braid it or twist it and then do a twist out, and that's why my hair looks lovely as it is right now. So that's 4C hair. Moving down, we have the 4A and 4B. The 4B, if you can see the slide, is more of a Z shape. So there are more angles to that. So it's a little more tightly wound than a 4A, which is more of an S, nice and coily. So when you hear, oh, this person has nice coils, it's typically a 4A type hair. And then below the 4s are the looser ends. Not a lot of us have that, but generally speaking, you know, we can have a mixture of, you know, some 3s in there. Sometimes your hair looks like it's straight, that's a 1, and 4A, 4B, 4C. With the different hair types, there are certain properties that all hair has to have. It doesn't matter if it's 1, 4, 10, whatever it is. So, and there are 3 of these properties. We have protein, which Koyin talked about, is found in the cortex of our hair. Actually, I've given that as a question for someone to win a free consultation next time. So you have the proteins, and then you also have elasticity. And what that means is how readily your hair bounces back into shape. If you pull out your hair and it breaks, then it's gone through some damage. So your hair really needs to be as elastic as it can. And you get that through moisture, FYI. So the last one is porosity. And Koyin is going to go deeper into porosity. And I know you've all heard of the word, oh, my hair is high porosity or low porosity. We're going to break that down to you in simplistic terms.
Okay. So porosity, so like Titi said, 3 things you need to always have in mind when you're thinking of how to take care of your hair is proteins. Protein is how your hair gets strength. Your hair is protein, so giving it more protein makes it even stronger. Your hair also has to be elastic. If your hair is elastic, it means it's properly moisturized, and when you manipulate it, it can stretch and go back to its original position without snapping. So when you have a good balance of that protein and that elasticity, when you have a good balance of protein and elasticity, you have a healthy strand of hair. But some things happen that affect your protein and moisture balance. And if you understand the porosity level of your hair, it helps you in managing and picking out products, managing your hair and picking out products. Low porosity hair, it takes a while for moisture to get into your hair. But when the moisture is in your hair, it stays. It stays. So the trick would be in figuring out how to actually get your hair to accept the moisture you're putting in it. And one way to know if your hair has low porosity is if it takes you a long time for your hair to get dry. So if you air dry your hair, or even if you go under a dryer, or you go under or you use a blow dryer, if it takes you a much longer period of time than it takes most people to dry your hair, then you probably have low porosity hair. High porosity hair would accept. Titi has high porosity hair. High porosity hair will accept moisture quite easily. It will accept moisture quite easily. It would even accept proteins quite easily. It would accept chemicals quite easily. So if you chemically alter your hair, or you use hair coloring, and it takes to the relaxer really fast and whatnot, you know that your hair actually has high porosity. So if your hair has high porosity, it sounds great. Oh, you know, I get moisture so easily into my hair. But it means that it's so porous that it comes in, and just as quickly as it comes in, it goes out. So just like that. So one of the things you would need to understand about your hair is the porosity and how to manage it. So then you have medium porosity as well. Medium porosity is it gets in quite all right, and it stays in quite all right, and then you have a good, healthy, balanced hair. So now that we understand porosity, sometimes we affect the natural porosity of our hair. So we have how we were made and how porous our hair is, but then we damage it ourselves. And how do we damage our hair? We have, next slide. How do we damage our hair? We have chemical damage. I think we know what that is. Chemical damage is when you use chemicals in your hair. Chemicals like relaxers. What relaxers do is that they break down the protein bonds in your hair. Remember when we were talking about the cortex, we spoke about how your hair is bound together by the disulfide bonds and the proteins. What the relaxer does is that it breaks down those proteins, and that's why your hair can be altered forever, because you've changed the actual structure of your hair, which is fine, but you need to also know how to to treat your hair so that that breakdown doesn't, lead to a complete hair, doesn't lead to complete hair loss and you can't wear your hair out and all of those things. We also have physical damage. Physical damage is, I have something called hand in hair syndrome. If you know me, you know my hand is always in my hair. And sometimes we damage our hair by doing that, just touching your hair for no reason. You sleep and you put your head or your hair on your pillow without covering it. So all the moisture goes on your pillow. When you cover your hair with a scarf to sleep, it's much better because especially like a satin scarf or a silk scarf that won't absorb the moisture, then you don't have physical damage to your hair. We also have mechanical damage, and that's from overcombing, overbrushing, that's from heat. Because remember I said the cuticle, 3 layers of the hair, medulla, cortex, cuticle. The cuticle is the protective layer, and that is really all it does. When you use heat in your hair, and also even with chemicals, when you use chemical heat in your hair, it slowly breaks down the protective layer. And when your protective layer is gone, the whole strand is gone.
I just want to say something about heat. When you use too much heat, it damages your hair. So the good thing about protein is that it can bend and it can break. So if you use enough heat, you just want enough heat to bend it to your will, but too much will break it. So when you say, use the word heat, we really need to be specific about it. I like to sit on the hairdryer and put my twists, and once I do that, my twists actually stay defined. I have 4C hair, so my curls are not defined. So I use minimal heat, but heat, too much heat is bad. Just enough heat will bend your curls to your will.
Okay, cool. And then other things affecting the hair. I mean, you have hair loss that might not necessarily have anything to do with how you are treating your hair, which is something that if you come to our stand or if you visit us at Tresses on Adesokunbo Ademola in VI, Shoppers Delight building, very close to the roundabout, we can sit and talk to you and talk with you about it and sort it out with you and for you. And then of course scalp conditions as well, dandruff, psoriasis, things like that also contribute to the, but we won't go into all of that right now because we really just want to get the gist of the matter. Next slide. So when there's something wrong with your hair, something called the 7 H's of hair care, which is a checklist that I just like to go through for what could be the cause of your hair. So you look at hereditary. A lot of our hair issues are hereditary. We get it from our parents. And so a lot of the time when that happens, there isn't so much we can do about it, but we can really try to manage it as best as we can by having healthy hair practices. You want to look at your health as well. Even if it's a fever, even if it's malaria, whatever it is, you want to look back at those types of things. And usually when something happens that affects your hair, you might not notice it in that moment. It usually takes about 4 months before something that affected your hair actually shows up on your hair. So sometimes if you just notice that, oh, all my hair started falling out, think back 4 months to health. Hunger, I write hunger, but what I really mean is diet, your food. And you want to make sure that you have it. When you're going through any type of hair issue, you want to make sure you have a balanced diet and maybe even vitamin supplements if you will, because your hair is not vital. So your hair is the last place that all of your nutrients go. It will fix every other thing it needs to fix within your body before it goes to your hair or your skin or your nails. So you really want to make sure that you have a good diet. We look at hassle as well. I say hassle, but I mean stress. Stress has an effect. In fact, for stress, it wouldn't even be breakage or anything like that. It would be loss from your strands. You want to think back 4 months. So it could be stress over a period of time, and it could even be stress one time. Like, in the case of maybe you hear, shock. You hear bad news or something shocks you. Think back and, that could be the cause of it. And a lot of those things are fixable. We look at healing. I write healing, but what I'm talking about is medication. So for a lot of women, especially women going through postpartum shedding, what usually happens is if you go off, because you have your vitamins that you're taking, if you go off your vitamins snap like that, your hair gets very confused because it doesn't really know what happened to it. I don't have it on my slide, but I actually think this is important to talk about. Hair breakage and hair shedding. There's a difference between breakage and shedding. Breakage is when your hair breaks across the shaft. So it just breaks in the middle there, and that's caused by a myriad of issues like we spoke about, the chemical damage and all of those things. And shedding is when it actually comes out from the scalp. And there are various reasons why it can come out of the scalp. It comes out of the scalp naturally as well. Your hair grows it rests, and it sheds. There are 3 stages of your hair growth cycle. For everybody, it takes about 4 to 10 years from when your hair starts to grow from the follicles all the way till it sheds. And with every turn in your cycle, it means with every time your hair sheds, with everybody it's different. So let's say on average 6 years, your follicle shrinks, and the next set of hair that's growing out is even smaller. So sometimes those are the things that contribute to thinning. But come to Tresses, I'll tell you much. I'll tell you much more about that. Let's go on. Okay, and then we have hormones. Those affect your hair and your skin as well. We're women, I'm sure we all know about that. And hairdressing. Hairdressing is where we get it so wrong a lot of the time. And if we can, at Tresses, we don't handle your hair roughly at all. Sometimes we have our clients say, comb this hair, I need to go. Comb it, I need to go. Okay, next slide. So that's what you want to look at when there's something going on wrong with your hair. Now, building a regimen.
Koyin is going to go over building a regimen, and she has her 3 key words that she goes by, which is wash, steam, grow. And she has made me a firm believer in steaming because I don't have time to steam my hair at all. And most people don't have 30 minutes to spend to sit and steam their hair. So Koyin is going to go over how she does it at Tresses.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about building a regimen, and at Tresses we have a 3-pronged approach. We call it wash, steam, grow, and I'm going to try to explain what that is to you. Building a hair care regimen. Yeah. And I would have you know, even the lack of a proper regimen is a regimen. What you have is a bad regimen. Yeah. Okay. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. So we already spoke about this. When you're doing something to your hair, you need to think about protein, and you need to think about moisture. Everything you do to your hair should be done with this in mind. So wash, you think protein, you think moisture. Steam, you think protein, you think moisture. Grow, you think protein, you think moisture. And we all know what this is. We all wash our hair, we all condition our hair, but with conditioning I advise to steam and grow. Grow is really just about everything else you do in between your wash and steam grow. So grow also includes styling. So everything else you do, your styling products and all that. Next slide, please. Okay. So I use a brand of products called Shea Moisture, and I use it because it's a brand that's actually trying to help. They're trying to help. They have a myriad of products which I know confuse people some of the time, but it's only because they are trying to help. So, I mean, with African hair, we've been miseducated over a long period of time. And I think we are taking our hair back into our hands now, and we're trying to figure it out. And Shea Moisture is a brand that is trying to help us figure that out. And one of their slogans is 1,000,000 ways to shea. And that's why they have so many products. It's because they are trying to sort out the different types of hair issues. So we have different types of things we use to wash our hair. We have co-washes. Co-wash, you know what, I'm just going to go there. So co-washes are cleansing conditioners. It's like the tall one on the side there. Cleansing conditioners are, they have cleansing properties, but they also have conditioning properties, and not too how do I phrase this? So they clean your hair, but they don't strip your hair. It's for some, if you wash your hair often, or if just after a swim, if you wash your hair maybe every other day, you have a teeny weeny afro and you want to wash your hair, I would say to wash it with a co-wash. We also have moisturizing washes, and these are the things we use at Tresses. Moisturizing washes, so this is a moisturizing wash, right? Yes. So it's a moisture retention shampoo, and it's moisture based. We have strengthening washes. Let me go back there. We have strengthening washes. This one. No, this one. Yeah. Anti-breakage. So we have strengthening washes. Strengthening washes would be protein based. Yes. While moisture washes would be moisture based. So remember, everything is protein, moisture. Protein, moisture. So this is a protein based shampoo. This is a moisture based shampoo. This is a clarifying shampoo. We need to clarify our hair sometimes because even though these are cleaning our hair, they are not harsh at all. So we don't strip our hair of its natural oils, right? We don't strip our hair off, but sometimes we have product buildup. So your hair will feel limp if you have product buildup. Your hair won't be able to hold its style if you have product buildup, and that's when you need to clarify. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I have a question. I wash my hair every 2 weeks. Do I need to clarify?
Yes, once in a while. So you wash your hair every 2 weeks, right? So you can wash with a moisturizing shampoo every 2 weeks if your hair is, if your hair needs moisture. You know your hair needs moisture when it is not elastic. Remember we spoke about elasticity and moisture. So when your hair is not elastic, it needs moisture. So if you're washing with a moisture-based shampoo because you're trying to sort out elasticity, after a while, because it's not very harsh, you're going to need to clarify. So you would clarify maybe every 6 weeks if you're washing your hair. Am I clear? Okay. So you will clarify your hair maybe once every 3 washes. Do you see what I mean? To get rid of product buildup. Okay. All right. So we understand how it is for washing. So we have the co-wash, which is in here. We have the moisturizing wash. We have the strengthening wash. We have the clarifying wash. You can even have a protein-based co-wash, a moisture-based co-wash. You see what I mean? A million ways to share.
Yeah. So after I clarify, I need to do a deep condition.
And that's where steam comes in. Next slide, please. And that's where steam comes in. Oh, we spoke about ingredients to love in your shampoo. Anything with oils, herbs, those types of things. Ingredients to avoid are sulfates. Sulfates is like soap. It is, it's in your morning fresh, it's in your Ariel, it's in all of those things. And so it goes on your plate to clean your oil. So it has no business in your hair. And so that's that for shampoos. The next thing you have to do after washing your hair, because you've now washed off all the sebum. Remember I spoke about sebum from the sebaceous glands? You've now washed off all the sebum from your hair, and so it's left without there's no lubrication going on. So you need to steam. Steaming, deep conditioning, using a mask, those are interchangeable words. Again, moisture, protein. So when you want to do that, you use a protein-based mask or a moisture-based mask. And I will explain to you shortly how you figure out how to put these things in your regimen. When I wash with a moisture shampoo, what do I use next? Blah, 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 blah. But the point is, you would need a moisture-based mask, a protein-based mask, and something else called a balanced mask, which is, it's not quite protein, it's not quite moisture, it's just somewhere in the middle there. And then if you wash your hair often, you can use an intense, daily conditioner, which we also have proteins and moisture, and Shea Moisture has a myriad of products to do that for you. Can we have grow? And grow, so wash, steam, grow. Grow is we've washed, we've steamed, now it's time to put products in our hair, because we're going to rinse that out. So now it's time to put products in our hair because we've rinsed out the mask. Ingredients to love in your mask. Let's go back to ingredients to love in your mask. Ingredients to love are oils because they lubricate your hair. Ingredients to love are herbs. They just help with nourishment. Remember, oils don't moisturize. A lot of the time when you ask people back to the other slide, please. When you ask people what they put in their hair, they'll say, oh, I moisturized it with shea butter. You put shea butter in it. Yes, I moisturized it with coconut oil. You put shea butter in your hair, you're not moisturizing your hair. Water moisturizes, oils nourish. Water moisturizes, oils nourish. Now we're very into wellness. We like to use all natural things and all that. But there are some things that your hair would need for it to thrive, right? Sometimes you see some names on a product and you want to avoid it by all costs because you don't know what it is, and you think if you just put bananas and coconuts and
Okra
and meat water and all types of things that people put in their hair, you don't want to do that. You want to actually condition your hair. You want to put something on your hair that allows your hair to stay conditioned until the next wash. Things like if you see BTMS, benzimonium metal sulfate, on your shampoo, or you see something called cetyl alcohol, those things are just aiding your conditioner. They're aiding your mask. And anything else that's in your product should be there to help your product. So like a preservative, but a formaldehyde-free preservative, or an emulsifier, something that's bringing the oil and that's bringing your conditioner together. You don't want coloring, flavoring, and smells and all type fragrance and perfume and all of those things in your hair, because they make the product smell nice and look nice, but they don't do anything for your hair. And you might want to also put some oils in your conditioner to just give it a boost. So that's where you can put your coconut oil and your shea butter. Don't deep condition. If you are doing it and it works for you, stick with it because everybody's hair is different. But if there's something wrong with your hair and you're trying to work with the science of hair care to take care of your hair, just use the science and do it properly. Next slide. Okay, grow. Now, there are different types of products for growing. We have detangling products, we have moisturizing products you leave in your hair, and we have styling products. And again, just like with your steaming treatments, you want to be careful. You want to make sure it's the same criteria: water-based products, loads of oils, loads of herbs, free from occlusive agents like mineral oil, and you want to also moisturize your hair every day, or as often as your hair is telling you it needs to be moisturized. So I have a few case studies just so we can actually tie this in so you can understand what we mean. So the first case study is, let's look at Adenike. Adenike has chemically processed hair, so meaning she puts relaxers in her hair. She took out braids yesterday. She wants to do a treatment today and put in a weave afterwards, which I do not advise. Your hair needs to breathe. Your hair needs to breathe, because if you keep doing that thing, remember when we spoke about mechanical damage? That's what you're doing. Your protective layer will go, and then everything else will go after that. So what do we do? In this instance, how do we figure out the treatment for that day? She just took out braids, but she wants to do a weave, and her hair is dry, it's hard, and it's breaking. What we will do is we will first detangle, and you want to use an actual detangler to do that. Even if you don't have a product that detangles, you can use like glycerin and water, things that will make your hair soft. Yes, so that will make your hair soft so that you can actually separate the strands. Now, we will go with a moisture-based wash. We will go with a moisture-based wash because her hair is dry and it's hard. Moisture is how you get water back into your hair. But because she's doing a weave now, and it doesn't matter how much I argue with her that she can't do a weave, she's going to walk out of Tresses and she's going to go and do a weave by herself. So I try to work with, I will not force a regimen on you, but I will try to tailor it to what is convenient and comfortable for you until you change your mind and do it my way. So we use a moisture-based shampoo, dry hair. But she's going to go and do something else that will damage her hair again. So then we go with an anti-breakage, with a protein-based mask that will bring together all of that. Yeah, that's this one. All of that damage that she's doing. We would also want to put, oils, that will further just allow her hair to be lubricated and soft and all that, just so that, because she's going to manipulate it again. You don't want it to break. You want it to stay as soft as possible until she does the weave. And yes, so at Tresses, what we do is, even though we've used all of these shampoos and these conditioners, we also take into consideration the fact that, you're going to go and do a weave again. And so that's where our own treatments come in. So we will tailor the treatment. We will tailor the oil part of your regimen to what you're actually trying to achieve and what you're going forward to do between your next wash. So for example, Adenike at Tresses would get a treatment called 5-Star Blossom. That's one of our treatments. We have a range of 12 treatments. I love Shea Moisture so much. I forgot that I had treatments. We have a range of, thank you. We have a range of 12 treatments. Some of them are actually bottled that you can actually take home and actually do yourself. You can buy your shampoos, your conditioners, take our treatment. So you tell us, this is what I want to achieve, and we'll build the regimen for you. And you have to plan. You actually have to plan. I always say plan your hair, plan 3 months. Know what you're going to do to your hair. So you have a wedding on the whatever of May. Plan it. Plan your hair according to all of the things you need to use your hair to do. So this is one of our treatments. This is another one. We have a bunch of them, just depending on what you're trying to achieve. I'll wrap it up in a second.
I like this. I need to talk about this.
This is something we put in all our treatments. It's our honey herbal treatment, and it's infused in all types of herbs and essential oils, and it just adds to the substantivity of any shampoo and conditioner you use in life. It's a breakage moisturizer, so that for the whole time she has her weave, maybe she'll put it in a bottle and put some water, make it into a spritz, and spray underneath her weave so that her hair stays intact up until she comes again and says, I'm taking out my weave, I want to do a treatment and do a weave again after, and then we have to beg and say, please, 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 but Yeah. And second case study. I'll just take only the second case study and then we're done.
Let me ask you a random case study. Okay, so her name is Shea. She has very soft hair. Her hair is always in braids. Her hairline, because it's always in braids, she's losing some of her edges. I know that some people do that. Oh, do you now? Okay. So her edges is always, she loses her edges. Her hair is very soft, so it's prone to breakage. And she doesn't wash her hair often. What would you recommend? What would you recommend? What would you recommend?
The wash, so we're talking for wash and for steam. What would be for wash?
Protein, I think.
What would be for steam?
Moisture. Protein for the wash. because she's having hair breakage, and I think you spoke about something that tends to protect the hair, and if there's no protein on the hair breaks up.
Now for steam, her hair is also soft. It doesn't really hold a style.
Then I would ask for anti-breakage.
All right. You just want yourself a free treatment at Tresses.
Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, I still want to have low hair for a while until I decide to start growing it again, but how do I take care of it at this stage?
You don't have that much length anyway, so, to make it soft. And you might not even necessarily need to steam. You can use a daily conditioner. If you were going to use a daily conditioner, you would use a balanced one. Remember I spoke about moisture-based, protein-based, and balanced. You would use a balanced one. And then for your grow, you would use, I guess, maybe an anti-breakage just to keep your hair intact. And I would advise you to have 2 shampoos, one for protein and moisture, two masks, one for protein, just 2 of everything. And then just as your hair needs it, you interchange.
That's 2 days ago, I really wanted to go chop up my whole hair. Few years back, I had a fake relaxer on my hair, so just right somewhere around here. And the place there's no hair there, yeah. So I just wanted to find out, what can I do? Because once in a while I go to do my hair in order to wear my wig. Mm-hmm. It's, there's no hair there. And it hurts a lot.
Okay.
So I was just wondering, what...
I understand.
Can you recommend your product that I can use?
Okay.
So I would love to have my hair back.
For those types of instances, we would be trying to stimulate your follicles for growth. And even the ones that are growing thin hairs, just because of the shock of the relaxer on your scalp, might have shrunken your follicle a bit. We have procedure. When I say procedures, it's not complicated. it's not like that. But we have it's not invasive in any type of way. It's like maybe light pressure type of procedures that we can use to stimulate your follicles for growth and to expand them as well so that thicker hairs grow out of them. We also have our Rooting for You hair oil. Any clients here, tried and tested, Rooting for You. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We hear these days that, wearing a lot of wigs would break your hair, and then I would like to know on here from a professional like you.
Some of the time, they're more damaging than anything else. They definitely have an effect on your scalp, especially your edges, because of the friction between your edges and the wig. In that case, I always advise moisturize your edges in the morning before you wear your wig. Use an oil to seal in the moisture, and also moisturize around your wig as well. I know that, with the type of hair that we use, you don't want oil to go on it, but something has to give. You either have your hair looking all luxurious, or you spoil your weave a bit, but then you protect your own hair a bit. I would advise grapeseed oil because it's a friction coefficient and it helps with friction between your hair and any other thing that it touches. Again, covering your hair with a wig sometimes it traps in moisture and there's over moisturization, just the same way you can have too much proteins in your hair and your hair is too strong. You can also have too much moisture in your hair and then your hair is limp and can't hold its style. So if you can just try once in a while to not wear the wig. I know that, for a lot of us that can be kind of hard, but there are alternatives. You can you can wear your hair out proudly, and if you do that for, why do you care? If you do that for a couple of months, eventually you'll be able to wear your hair out in a way that it looks nice, and you will understand your hair better. You can't understand your hair if you keep on hiding from it. You have to put your hands in your hair, wash your hair yourself, touch it. Even if you do it in a salon, when you finish washing your hair, I would say touch it. How does it feel? When you finish, yes. Anyway, so that's that.
Who can remember the 7 H's? Lady in pink. The 7 H's. No?
Heredity, or then heredity, then hustle. Hustle is one. Then
The lady right there that's waving her hand.
Titi, hustle, hairdressing, hormones, healing. Healing. Sorry, I'm going to steal my answers. Hunger. Hunger and health.
Should we give her? She got 5 out of 7 before she started to look somewhere else. She took notes. Okay, then I say she gets it.
You know, like you have multiple products and you've been using it for a while and suddenly, okay, you don't feel like it because you feel it's too heavy, or, you know, you just need to change your regimen. And it's just sitting there and you're on a different regimen or a different product at that time. How long do you dispose those products? You know, sometimes you do Ijebu, like me, I'm fully Ijebu. So I will throw it, I won't want to throw it away. I'll say, okay, I'll use it. But how long do we really need to keep our products?
So don't leave your hair products in your car. I know sometimes you want to go to the salon after work and all that, and you bring the product to the salon and it's hot. Don't do that.
Another thing is cover. Cover your products. It will oxidize when exposed to air and it changes, so you need to cover your product. Sorry, next question.
Okay. All of these things that you've taught us or enlightened us about today, does that really relate to your scalp? And the reason I'm asking this question is, I've dealt with dandruff for like 4 years now. And trust me, I do all these things you do to my hair, my scalp, my everything. Somebody says, oh no, this thing I use it for your hair, it's not good
like
for your
what?
scalp. I steam, I moisturize, all these things you've listed out. I've gone to see a doctor. I've done like everything I need to do. Maybe the question is, what exactly causes dandruff? Because that's one major issue I think people are dealing with. Is either dandruff or they say your scalp is scaling. I don't know if there's a difference between these two, but we need some enlightenment on that.
You have an overproduction of sebum on your scalp. So typically, if you have maybe an oily face and things like that, you are just more prone to having dandruff because it's just all over oil. You know, it's just an overproduction of oil on your scalp. Also, with your skin cells on your scalp also regenerate really fast. And so what you're looking at is the regeneration of the skin cells so fast and the oils, and then it's clumpy, and then it grows with your hair. Quite different from dry scalp. So if that is what you're having, then we're leaning towards dry scalp. Some people also have psoriasis and think it's dandruff because there's just something on your scalp, and so it's dandruff. You know, so that's the first point of call. There are anti-dandruff shampoos, of which, of course, a million ways to shea. Shea Moisture has an anti-dandruff line as well. And anti-dandruff shampoos, anti-dandruff masks, and whatnot. But you know, like I said with the other lady's question, without actually seeing what's on your scalp, it's a bit difficult. However, what you will be trying to do is trying to dry out. You'll be trying to dry out your scalp. So your scalp is actually not oil loving at all. Your scalp is not oil loving. So if you're using products with a lot of oil in them, you know, use them. So everything you said, we're saying with them. And that's why I said we would only try to cover on some things, but if you have specific issues like hair loss or things to do with the scalp, you know, come and see us, because that's a completely different thing that's not cosmetic. You know, so what you will be trying to do is you'll be trying to dry out your scalp. There are oils that would work for your hair, like citrus-based oil, and we even have, it's not here, but you know, citrus-based oil like lime oil and orange oil. That's the type of oil you'll be trying to use, not shea butter or any of those heavy ones. Jojoba oil as well is the closest oil, to sebum. Sebum is the natural oils on our scalp. So jojoba oil is very close to sebum. So even if you're going to use any oil, you'll be using jojoba oil, and you would be using, you know, those more drying, very light rose hip, those types of oils. But see us and. Oh yes, you won the pro consultation online. Great, so see us, yeah?
How can we keep our head dark naturally without using coloring, like hair dye?
The only natural hair color is henna. And henna will give your hair a red tint. It will give your hair a red tint, and that's as it goes for the more natural organic types. There's black henna, but that's not very natural and organic. It's been, but then Shea Moisture, a million ways to shea, has a range of hair colors that we use, and together with the rest of the regimen, we won't get breakage, or we will get very minimal breakage, or everything will be fine. Through what?
The 3 properties of hair. The 3 properties. Casabella. Oh, you've won already. Go, please.
Okay, they asked.
Oh, the dude right there.
It was me. Okay, yeah.
Who? I can't
Okay, I think it's
the
me.
girl or I can't see him. Ha. Okay, there we go.
Okay, 3 properties: porosity, elasticity, and what's the last one again? I forgot.
Oh.
Moisture content also. Well, I know elasticity and porosity, and that's it. Yeah.
Okay, you have to
protein, yes. Protein.
You have to explain.
Okay, elasticity is how elastic it is. That's how its ability to absorb moisture and retain it.
No. Anybody? Does anyone want to? No, not her. No. The lady in the back. Right there. 3rd row. Lady in the back.
Sorry.
Porosity has to do with how your hair absorbs moisture and oil. Elasticity is how it stretches, and then protein is strength, how if it can stand on its own or if it falls out.
Protein.
It's about the strength of your hair. When you comb, does it fall out, or can it stand on its own? Is it limp? I think
we'll accept that. Please give her a round of applause.
Thank you very much for listening. I hope you all had an amazing experience. I did. We are on Adetokunbo at Shoppers Delight, 1st floor, Shoppers Delight. Adetokunbo Ademola VI, and we would love to see you all there at some point in time. Even if you don't have any issues with your hair, it's just about maintaining your hair. We treat your hair with care. We treat your hair very nicely. Thank you for listening, and thank you, Titi. Please clap for Titi for coming on stage and holding my hand.